So first question, is there somebody that wants to speak in English, or rather I can do it in Spanish? Somebody? Yeah, okay. So thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for the organization to let me make this personal deal. It's my first time speaking in public in a conference. Added to that, I was thinking I was doing it in Spanish, and somebody told me that due to the fact that I've done it in English, there's a target at English, no? So a lot of things to do at the same time. Well, let's see. Well, the speech is a personal conclusion, a personal thinking, and I wanted to share it. Maybe the two main root causes to make this summarize, so this thinking is based on two inputs. The first one is a personal retrospective in the last 13 years, about the 13 years of experience that I had. I think everybody does more or less a checkpoint in the different stages of his personal experience. And added to that, I read this year a book that I really recommend, which is The Art of Business Value from Mark Schwartz. That more or less gave me, I was really identified. No? It's a book about the CIO, CTO, that talks about how to deliver business value. So more or less with these two inputs, I came to this title. No? The product ownership is a team responsibility. So let's see what does it mean for me, because it's a personal experience. Maybe my thoughts is a stupid thing, but it's my thoughts, and I'm going to share it with you. I hope maybe we are aligned. So I'm going to go around product ownership and team based on my experience. No? I think every single experience has different stages. No? And this we are seeing on the slide, different stages that I have lived. No? These stages have different dimensions. No? The company, there can be big companies, small companies, flat organization, hierarchical organization. There can be context of the teams, how big they are, if they are multidisciplinary or not. But more or less, I found out that have the same patterns. No? They have also a dimension of time. So I've seen the patterns independently on the time. So maybe 3 years ago, I saw the same pattern. And there's also a dimension of roles. No? If we go for Agile and we use Scrum, for example, there are product owners, they are more command and commander, others are more working together style, and Scrum Master more or less the same. So to give you more or less more context, I share with you which is my experience, no? Because it's my experience and it's based on this center. No? The first one is more or less I have 13 years of experience. Mainly this last 6 years was CDO. In the 5 different companies, different sizes from around 50 people to 400, with teams, with colleagues in IT around 15 and 90, and in different markets, 5 different, ticketing, travel mainly, payment, gambling, and maybe I'm forgetting one. So let's go further. Well, to really share my experience and the message I want to share with you, I need to make a spoiler about my conclusion, no? Which is my message, because it's the one I want to share with you. Well, my message is that I found out that after 13 years, well, the mission of everybody doing a product, being part of a company, is making a product. It's easy to say, but sometimes we are not thinking about that. So I was feeling in the last, I think 4 years ago, I really found out that the more information that I have about the product, the better I give solutions. And it's easy to say, but it's always we are not focusing on that. So my conclusion about that was for me, was for that. So I tried to apply it to my teams. So in my role, I was managing teams, I was managing technology, and perhaps I'm an IT guy. I found out that, well, technical stuff is important for me, but if I don't know the product, I cannot give good, right solutions. So I tried to apply the product ownership for whatever I was doing. That means, I don't know if you have ever bought a car, and when you are trying to find your car, or when you buy it, you see everywhere the same car, no? So I bought the Seat Ibiza, and I see Ibiza everywhere, no? So whenever I look with a new Prisma that I have today, I find out that the keystone of everything is the product ownership. So let's go further in that part. What means product ownership for me? And which more or less are the pillars? The pillars for me are 4 main ones. The first one is vision. So I cannot work in a company where I don't have vision. That means, which is the aim of the company? Which is the aim of the product that we are developing? For example, if I'm in a startup and I'm going to my deal, my promise is to build a company where people who is flying to destination have the best experience in destination. I know what I'm going to do. The next part is the strategy. This is the focus. So how I'm going to focus, what I'm going to do. So it means if I'm in this kind of startup that I described, I need to find out if I'm going to do it with my staff, with my people, in the different destination I have. Or for example, I have a peer-to-peer solution from Airbnb, Trip for Real, for example. It's a different approach. So I need to know the insights. No? Also the focus on which target market, which is the target user. And that is also important. No? So as a TA guy, I need to do that. I need to know it, because if I know it, I'm targeting better my solution. The third part is tactic, which is also the most important thing that we used to do is how we are going to do that, which is the steps to reach the goal, which is the requirements, which are the requirements, which is the MVP we are going to define. No? And one important thing is that, for me, closes the loop of product ownership of me and apply to a team is measuring what we do. So sometimes we're doing assumption. We are building products what we think that they're going to work with targeted for a given customer, but we need to measure it. No? So how is more or less I measure that we are really having product ownership? When I see, in the example, the IT guys reaching first in the morning, getting a coffee, and the first thing that they do is which is the sanity of the system, well, the product. How many bookings we have today, if it's good or not. They're interested about the product that have been developed by them. So this feeling, it's quite important, and for me, it's key for whatever I do in my professional career. No? And these pillars, when I center it in my position, I'm talking about technical, but every single person that is inside the team. And for me, a team is the whole company. We are all together, we are a family, bringing a product live. So that's more or less my mindset. Let's see what we are seeing on my different steps. Well, having said that, and I think I need to go a little bit slower. So I applied that to me, and I've seen that in the last 3 years, 4 years, and tried to apply that. Because at the start point, I was thinking, there's a lot of noise in the middle. So technologies, you're trying to learn technology at the same time of business language. I'm growing in a company and have more responsibilities, but I have a lot of help. But nowadays, I see the life in another way, in another prism. No? So when I look back and I see what does product ownership mean for me, I go to the stages and I see, well, more or less the patterns I see in different companies and different teams is that, well, there's always a start with Agile. So more or less, we have a team, we said product ownership, we start with Agile. Well, sometimes we say we start with Scrum. And we say, well, let's start somehow, and we try to assign roles. But the main fact is that when I was starting, I think in 2006, in last minute, we were focusing on the process. We were not focusing on the product ownership. So you cannot obtain something that you are not cultivating. So what happened to the product ownership? Are we really focusing on the functional scope? Of course, we know the methodology, we know the ceremonies of Scrum. There's a big important one, the sprint planning. You can add grooming, which is something that has been an evolution. It's something words that some people that are doing Scrum really don't know what is grooming. But we are not focused on product. We were focusing on the process. So the ownership usually was on the business part. Of course, it's a cliche, it's a pattern. But I was always feeling that, no? Well, you can have a good project manager, a product owner that is really feeling it. You can have a team that really feeling it, but it's not usual. So, well, where's the product ownership? Well, it depends on the person. The product owner is more or less finding his path. He was a project manager. The only thing has changed is his level, but nothing changed relating to product ownership. So, if I look at it from my perspective today, I will do it totally different. Let's go to the next stage or pattern I've seen. No? Well, you start, you know more or less the ceremonies, you know more or less what to do with Scrum, but there's some stages, and I think everybody has had the situation somehow, that product owner and Scrum Master are more or less saying, well, where's your terrain and which is my one, no? So how we are going to work together and which are your responsibilities and my ones. But are we really focusing on product ownership in that relationship? So I'm focusing on the team, Scrum Master, the product owner on the product, but more or less, are we talking about the main focus about product? Are we working together, really? So I feel it. So the evolution of a team, and normal evolution is in that way, you know? Maybe when I was talking about the temporary things, I started with the team 4 years ago, and I started here, not in the first step. But it's a pattern I've seen. So I've said it before, no? The product owner is more or less getting the insight because you have been developing. But you are not cultivating the product ownership. We define a team and action sequence. You have a product owner, goes to the different stakeholders, goes get the different requirements, goes to the team, talk with the team, Scrum Master, and tries to deliver whatever has been requested. No? So business is business. So it depends on the person. We are on the same page, more or less. Well, there's a next stage or pattern I see that is developing roles. Everybody wants to do it better in its own position. So so the product owner starts to say, well, I need to have a backlog, a better backlog. I think everybody as a product owner have seen that the Henrik Niebuhr video, which is amazing, where you can see which is the really responsibility of a product owner. I don't know if there's product owners on here. Raise your hand if you're a product owner. How many times have you seen that the developer wants the requirements they're magically on their desk? Have you felt that situation? And how many developers are here? Have you felt the situation where the requirements were given and there was no chance to change it because the product owner was saying this is the way that we are going to do it? So does it really make sense? No? Okay, we are developing our roles, but in some patterns we are not collaborating for the same aim, which is the product. We are developing our roads, but not focus on the real thing. Let's go to the next one. But summarizing the slide before. So something changed, and I say it's a really change. We are acting in a coordinated way. So, well, we are doing a little bit better. So let's get to a stage which for me is a start point. It depends on the company, but we can work together. So I've experienced when we work together in the same aim, we can do it better. Why instead receiving the requirements like Mercadona, which is a supermarket, from the, I don't know how to explain it, when the change goes up, no? The requirements comes magically there. Work together, make a definition together, make the requirements together. With the start of the product owner, which has a lot of knowledge, but making BDD, definition of done, making everything together. If there's a problem, for example, we can use the team, the brains of all the team, to afford the problem together. So this is something we are not used to do, or I was not used to do, and when I focused on the product ownership, for me, it was very important. So there are things that you can see that they're really racing, no? Product owner leads, but the team starts to have conscience. So that is not the only one who has cultivated, who has the ownership. We are cultivating the ownership cross-board. On the other hand, we are building a product, and it's the keystone. Well, there's the next phase, which is I've been trying since 1.5 years, which is the best situation, because I said before, we are a family bringing a product live. So why not stay together and do it? So it depends on the company. And maybe this is the pattern that you cannot apply in your company, but there are ways to reach the same goal. Let's put the input of everybody that are working in this product and try to be in the same page, in the same priorities, with the same input. We can do it. Of course we can do it. So we can get information about marketing, we can get information about UX, and find solution together. Because the better vision we have, the better product we can achieve, no? Make dailies, there's a tons of things that we can do. So whatever this is, in this situation, and more or less we are reaching what I said before. Product ownership is on the DNA. Product ownership is something that is cross-team. So due time, I'm going to make a summarize about what I'm saying. So my learnings. I see it from the point that I have different teams in my life, and the best teams I had is the one that have this product ownership in the DNA. So to have it, you need to cultivate it. And I think behind shining products, there are amazing teams. And if you empower the teams, you can have an amazing products. So some question might raise to your mind, saying, well, what does it mean product ownership from everybody? From this point, what does the product owner do? Well, for me, it's a key role. It's not the best name, because the names of Scrum it's not the best fit. Scrum Master or Product Owner. But the ownership is quite important, and we need people that is an ambassador of that. So the product owner is not usual that is a domain expert. There's a lot of domain expert as stakeholders. But if he can collaborate with the different inputs that they have and give it to the team and collaborate everybody with the same challenges, I think the results are amazing. So more or less, this is my summary, my learning. How I reached this summary, so on how I reached the path to reach the goal. Introducing into the process dynamics and information that gives the power to the team, and also the decision making. So you can have a lot of dynamics that can help you. You can see examples, no? Inception deck, elevator pitch, user job stories, grooming, user story mapping, cross-functional teams, requirements, stories. And in the last stage, DDD and brainstorming helps a lot for a team to understand the domain, because it's an ubiquitous language. We talk everybody about the same thing, which is usually a problem. So that's more or less my learnings, my experience. And well, more or less, I want to say something to the community, one to the developers, one for the Agile. In some time, so I felt that we have lost the scope, no? And I was very happy to hear about that we have lost the principles and the values. So more or less, I don't know if I'm focused on that part, but there's a lot of noise outside. We are talking about tons of technology in IT. It sounds that if you are not doing microservices, functional programming, you are not on the market. Okay, that are ways because I'm a technical guy, but the key point is the product. And sometimes I'm feeling we are forgetting about that. So because we are fighting against each other instead going for the same path, no? And that's more or less.